But hey, there's shoals, and we managed to survive in one piece. Had to spend a little bit more cash than I would like on Potion Petition, but anything to stay alive is pretty much worth it at the end of the day here. Should have plenty of money by Zot to start just bribing the ever-living crap out of all of our friends down there. So where do we go next? I guess we did get that resistance to Poison Ring, and it still has willpower on it as well, which is a pretty solid bonus, so we're potentially ready now to take on Snake. You know there are 27 species because Mummy's last and its letters A. Good way to remember it. For me, it's just one of the things that has remained consistent in the game for such a long time here, is there always being 27, and that's a huge reason why anytime they add a species, they gotta take one away, because you can't break from that tradition. We've come too far with the 27 species. It would just feel wrong to do anything otherwise. Though my electrical friend, let's definitely let this son of a gun come right to us before we finish them off. And before we continue any further, probably a good idea to actually wear that poison resistance ring that I was just talking a big game about. So what do we switch off? I guess this son of a gun will keep flying in -3. And we'll get rid of the resistance to corrosion temporarily here. And that will be enough. So let's do so now. That's fantastic. And so we're looking pretty solid across the board. Have poison resistance, have electricity resistance. No fire resistance is going to be rough when the salamanders come out to play. But hopefully there aren't too many of those sons of guns. And Guardian Serpent, also not what I wanted to see here for sure. But let's just back away from our warrior friend and cheese the ever-living crap out of them. Perfect. You do love to see it. Did I know 10 pounds of parakeets will eat more food in a day than one 10-pound eagle? That makes sense, right? They have to eat a lot just to keep that little heart of fluttering. Because that's the crazy part about a lot of those kind of smaller sized birds, is their heart rates and their body temperature are ridiculously high. I always remember in, I think, junior high science class, we had this thing where we were given like 10 different temperatures and 10 different objects, and you had to guess which belonged to which. And the body temperature of a canary is way higher than you'd think possible. Like, you'd think that they'd just immediately combust with that level of heat. But apparently, they just live like that. Okie dokie. We did get surrounded immediately upon coming down the stairs. That is what we were afraid of with our serpent... Guardian Serpent friend, rather. But, hopefully, don't get too many more of those. And in fact, if you could just come right this way, please come up to me. Don't surround me, just walk here up. Thank you kindly. That is fantastic. Much more better. Ooh, and a mighted up sharpshooter is not what you want to see, but maybe we can get one good reflection, we can take them down, or, you know, maybe go the extra mile ourselves with a good old ice blast. Fantastic. Wait, what's 98.6 Fahrenheit and Celsius? What's a fever? So 98.6, that's going to be around like 30 degrees? Maybe a little bit higher, like 35, something like that, right? Because 100 degrees is like a really kind of hot day in the States. So that I feel is around 35, 36 degrees Celsius. Something like that. You know, if you're in the 113s where like heat strokes become an issue, that's more like 40s, low 40s. I don't know, I've never been great about that. Hey, about 37 degrees? That's pretty dang close. I'll take that. We're not doing any of the math. Subtract 30 and have it. That's pretty close, right? Because it's like times 9 divided by 5. Subtract 32 times 9 divided by 5. I always mix up my order of operations there because it's obviously not something I do a lot. Instead, I just go for that kind of internal barometer of like, I know that people always say they like Fahrenheit because, you know, 0 to 100 is like a scale and how it feels to the human. So 100, very hot for a human. 0, extremely cold for a human. And so I just go from there. Kind of wing it. 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 degrees Celsius because that's a bit more of a straightforward one. Demon Spawn Field, DD Spring and Naga are the ones that you've won with the D is no more, Colgate? got replaced by the Meteorin, something like that. Forget what they're called. Currently trying to win with Kobold, and that is 6 species. Nice. Well, best of luck with that. I like Kobolds a lot. I think they're fun little buddies. Your browser address bar can do it. Type in 98.6 to see without the quotes and don't press enter. The answer will show up right there. Oh, how about that? You don't even have to go into the search. Yeah, it slightly overestimates lower temps, it slightly underestimates higher ones. And for CDEF, it's the opposite, double it the nat 30. Makes about sense. About the right amount of sense, really. Okie dokie though, let's continue going. See, this is what I was afraid of. Oh, we do immediately manage to escape though. I thought we were going to get constricted into the next lifetime. Well, that stair is a no-go for me, my friends. This one is also, I guess, a no-go, so that at least simplifies our options. I don't have to make too many decisions. Let's just head down here, shall we? And I was hoping that one of you Spear Sons of Guns would walk up to me, but I guess that's not going to be in the cards for us today. So your one species there, Thalpon. Nice. That's a pretty decent spread. Playing Draconians and Demon Spawn and Spriggan, those are all in the intermediate category. I guess Deep Elves as well. So you have a good mix between kind of the first two columns. Very nice, very nice. I feel like that was me for the longest time. I'm trying to think if there are any of the advanced species that I won with early on. I mean, Formicids, I went through a phase where I played a lot of Formicids, and the first one that I got a good, you know, the Tower Shield two-handed weapon combo, things went pretty swimmingly. Oh, geez. And this is where it all goes wrong, folks. We definitely don't want to walk this way if we can help it, because we know there's a huge crowd of friends there. Trying to just keep escaping up the stairs seems like it's not something we should be trying for here. Let's run as far as next is Brockie to 21. 6 missing. Nice. We've caught up and are starting to surpass us for sure. We're a ways off. Or yes, that's just for naming them there. But okay. Let's... Whoa. Again, brain's not fully functioning today. We're not firing on all cylinders. So what is my best course of action here? We could start just stepping away. Majority of these Sons of Guns aren't hasted at the very least. Especially we want to potentially get to a slight amount of safety before the Naga Warriors start adding into the fray here. Let us start walking. The Anaconda will keep up with us, but otherwise the rest of these Sons of Guns will fall behind, and we can always dig our way into a nice little kill shaft. And now this is huge for all the polearm users that we're fighting here, because we don't have to worry quite so much about all the extra attacks coming our way, and we can instead just fight you all the old-fashioned way. In fact, now that we've killed the Anaconda, I guess we could do a bit of a loop-de-loop here, hey? How about that? Most of the advanced list seems unappealing to you. I think that that's completely fair Thalpon. There are a couple of them that I like for flavor. Formicid, Naga are a lot of fun. Octopodes, absolutely adore. But for the most part, things like Mummy are sweet if you're doing challenge runs or if you're trying to go for that great player achievement. But otherwise, there's not a lot of reason to play them anymore. Back when food was a thing, it was pretty sweet not to have to eat. And that was kind of an interesting style. But for the most part, it's just a challenge run. Which again, if that's something you enjoy, then all the power to you. But if not, why bother? It's not going to be a make or break thing, to say the least. Okie dokie. So, what do we want to do here now? We can potentially keep fighting, but I'm worried that one solid hit from this son of a gun is going to take a chunk out of us, to say the least. So we could start the loop around. Hope that we don't run into any enemies on this side of the wall, as well as up here on our way back to the stairs, because everyone else is too slow to keep up with us. So there is that. Content was mentioned earlier in the stream, Octopode, you also missed and can't figure out the last 4. See, that's where it starts to get really tough. When you've missed just a few, it can be really hard to get to the bottom of it, to say the least. I don't think I could do it in the slightest, which is why I'm just letting all of you do the heavy lifting while I just try my best not to die, I guess. So let's see, we could potion petition. Not bad, not great, but not bad. It's definitely, at the very least, something. Let's take a few more swings at it and see how she goes. See, and that's what I was worried about. Now that is quite the hit there, my friend. So let's go for 1 potion petition. We do get the heal wounds, so that is absolutely huge. There's something that has come wandering down, which I don't like. Wonder if the Arc Blade is blasting around the corner. So last week we did discover that it does. Yeah, Thalphon confirming that we did see that. So that's why I'm hoping that we're killing some of these Sons of Guns by proxy as we make our way through the crowd here. Oh, you're still mighted up, hey? Oh, you as well, hey, my friend? There we go, that's much more better. Still a couple with the might effect on them. As long as the warriors don't, we should be in business, at least for the first little bit of the fight here. And that is fantastic. Let's just heal up. And we'll continue to lead our friends in here. Lightning is going to take a lot of bounce shots at us. That was something that could have gone terribly wrong, but we managed to get through in one piece, and there's our salamander friends. Weird messengers like something was zapped by lightning or whatever. You can see they're entering line of sight already damaged. Exactly. No, it is a thing of beauty, to say the least. So 16 extra fire damage. That's not the end of the world. The baby salamander we can take. As soon as we start getting into the magma flingers, I think is where this takes the turn for the worst. Until that day, let's just be grateful for what we've got. Fighting a garden serpent in this scenario is about the sweetest little bit of news that we've heard all run. You do love to see it, because that very easily could have gone a heck of a lot worse. And oh my gosh, we even get that protection from fire ring that we've been missing. Well, how'd you do about that? Fantastic. What can I get rid of to free up some space? In the meantime, kind of using boomerangs every once in a while. Oh, Staff of Conjuration, that can 100% go. Let's pick up that ring, and you'll love to see it. Let's see, anyone else nearby? Because I'd kind of like to just keep fighting in my lovely little death box that we've created here, if at all possible. Down here we had a bunch of faster snakes, so let's maybe try and get just a couple of them on our tail. And I know what you're saying, ants don't have tails, and that's the thing about fantasy ants, is you never really know. Maybe these ones do. But regardless, this is a much easier way for us to take care of all these Sons of Guns, and in fact we'll just continue leading them off on merry little adventures, fantastic mini escapades. And then everything starts to go horribly wrong. But that's what digging is for. Beautiful. Very least can keep them down to just one at a time, because it was the halberd and the constriction combo, I feel, that was doing the most work there. You looked it up, Colgate, you're missing Gargoyle, Tengu, Ogre, and Demigod. Demigod makes sense. They're pretty milquetoast. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if humans were also on that list, but I guess maybe not so much in the new updates. Vindar, you mentioned that new launchers is auto win on Demigod as soon as you find an art list. Highly recommended. Then we'll potentially have to try out. I know the main one on my list is that I really want to do a sword wielding demigod, so that you can go just full deck strats. Now that the swords scale off of that, and you can get just an absurd stat bonus, obviously, going with any demigod character. That sounds like a lot of fun. And hello, Maglotl. How you doing? How goes it, my friend? How you going? Well, let's just commit to fighting this early, potentially. We'll immediately might our friend here. And what else can I do to get this party started? I guess we could throw some, like, silver javelins. That seems like an appropriate avenue to take here. You can hit for up to 20, trample for 25. Oh, so that's not too bad. Even Mighted, I think I'm okay with fighting you. For a second I got scared with the Corrupt, but turns out that's just our friend corrupting, so heck yeah, buddy. Oh, really attack my large abomination. Right, when you have arcane electricity in hand, you maybe don't want to always just go head first into combat, hey? Well, how about that? What do we do with you, my friend, then? I guess we could switch back to just throwing javelins. That's something. See, spectacular thing about people is how unremarkable they are in every way. You can't forget them. I like the sound of that. That is quite a lovely way to put it. Remember when I was saying, oh, 25 damage? That's basically free. That's nothing. Well, may eat our words a little bit here. Now the question becomes, can I kind of dodge around all of our friends here? Because as long as they're in the way, and if we can get a swap going, then we can definitely get some ground away from our new friend here. You gotta be resistant to poison, right? You are indeed. So let's just potion petition early on here, make sure that we're in a healthy spot. No reason to get too absurd with it all, and fantastic. See you later, McGlottal. I would say it was nice knowing you, but I try not to lie to the people on stream, so I won't, I guess. And fantastic. Let's get back into the thick of it here. And hey, we're pretty remarkable. Show you another species that programmed DCSS. Well, that's the thing about the infinite universe, is there probably is another species that has programmed DCSS. But you still have a point there. I mean, heck, we wouldn't even be having this conversation if it wasn't for the remarkable nature of humans. So there is always that to keep in mind. Alright, friends, if you could all follow me, come one, come all, meet your maker. And that should be absolutely fantastic stuff. Perfect. And just continuing to add to our lovely pile of trophies here. You do love to see it. Let's get back on the road. Nah, silver javelins, after finding many kobolds, you kind of miss them. Javelins in general are something I deeply miss when I'm playing on a kobold character. In general, kobolds don't have the greatest aptitudes in magic, so I often am playing a melee kobold, and I'm always so sad to see those stacks of javelins just sitting there all alone. No loving attention to send their way. Truly a saddening experience, to say the least. Fortunately, not for us today. We can feel free to use and abuse those to our heart's content. Hopefully, though, we can save a lot of the silver javelins for when we get to Zot, because it's always really nice to have against Orbs of Fire and get some solid damage coming out in that regard. Probably should have just focused down the lightning stake instead of letting my my auto fight tab key do all the decision making there, but it's fine. Kobold have fine aptitudes for magic, like 0 and everything. Yeah, fine, I think is the way that I'd explain it too. But not the greatest, you know? Especially since I find that I'm usually slightly speciesist, I guess racist, when it comes to my builds in-game, because I often go with kind of the classic looks. You know, if you're an elf, you're a spellcaster. If you're a kobold, I don't know, maybe you're a sneaky little son of a gun. But honestly, just an antiquated view on the entire kobold society, and I should be embarrassed for even thinking it in the first place, because kobolds can do whatever they want to achieve in life. They just have to put their minds to it, and that's the thing. Let's see what we got here. The Macabre Finger Necklace. That is a really fun artifact. So that will allow us to put on an extra ring instead of using the usual amulet slot. We do have a decent amount of rings right now. I don't know, is there anything I would want to wear desperately? If we take a quick peek, I guess we could put on the triple positivity. That's about it. Protection from fire, also obviously kind of nice. Hopefully we find something a little bit stronger in that department as the run goes on. Needless to say, color me interested. I think we will take a bit of a peek at the macabre finger necklace as we continue forward. Stat ring doesn't interest me. Let's see what these other shops have in store. Amulet of air. Ooh, not on this character. Inaccuracy I think is a bit too much for me to chew right now, but that's definitely kind of a fun one. So let's probably come back for the macabre finger necklace. No need to jump into it immediately here. Plus 2 boots of the new world. Our elect we don't need at the moment, but there's our resistance to fire if we'll have them. I think I'm gonna just insta buy that, if I'm being honest with you all. Say goodbye to our boots of stealth that I immediately pick back up because I'm bad at clicking. And fantastic. Finally have fire resistance. Hooray! Slain ring is nice if you're smashing stuff. Well, right now I constantly hear about people's fun runs where they really stack up Slain, especially I've heard on a Formicid. If you can get Gyre and Gimbal and a ridiculous Slain score, then you're just tabbing your way through all of the 3-room game. So definitely something we can keep in mind if we can help it. Obviously it'd be nice if we could combo that Slain on an artifact of sorts and get a bit of a good bonus across the board, but we'll have to see how it all goes down. That's a lot of sharpshooters. Hello, my friends. Let's start pinging you a little bit at range. And we can kind of do the dance here. Make sure that we're not taking too much damage, but we're also putting down some. Every once in a while we get the reflection hits, which are huge as well. And let's see, 1 bad hit, and we're probably out for the time being. But there we go. Game, we've improved the randomization of Wanderer starts. Right? It's also game, have a dagger, Evo skill, and a piece of Sam's chessboard. So definitely not the greatest start, but I do honestly really enjoy that change in general. The big question that I think a chatter brought up a while back that has been on my mind ever since is, what does the new start mean for a null? Because if it's taking aptitudes into account now, what happens if they're all the same? What do you get? Are nulls the only species that get the true old school Wanderer experience? Maybe. Hello, my friend. There we go. Not too shabby. I don't actually know where the end vault is, and what perfect time for us to have gotten some resistance to fire. I think I immediately need to swap off one of my rings. Which shall it be? Let's go with the flying one, I guess, for now. We'll keep the resistance to poison in case that comes back to being relevant as other enemies come around the corner. But doesn't look too bad to start off. Fantastic. Though I will switch back immediately. And not too shabby. Wanderers get an extra potion or scroll in trunk. It's something at least for sure. I know, I kind of have always liked Wanderers regardless of where they sat in terms of overall meta or strength, just because I always found it a lot of fun. And I mean, you know me after watching a few streams. I am not good at the whole needing to make decisions thing, so I oftentimes like to outsource that as much as I possibly can. And Wanderer is a great way to do it. If I'm like on a flight, have my laptop and think, oh, I'll boot up DCSS while I'm in the air here, I usually just hit Wanderer starts, and that way I just have to roll with whatever the game sends our way. I usually end up having a heck of a time doing it. Unsurprisingly, Berserkers didn't get buffs. I would hope not. They've always been pretty solid. Not the most interesting characters, at least not for me these days, just because I've played a decent number of them, especially when first learning the game. That was basically every character that I played was a Berserker. And hello, Vajnia. Okie dokie. Wonder if that was your band of sharpshooters we saw earlier. Sorry, I got very distracted because my brain, instead of reading the name here as Vajnia the Elite Mark Snaga, all I could see was Vajnia the Elite Mark Snaga, which very much confused me. I was trying to think of what a Snaga could be, but that makes more sense in hindsight. That run died quickly as you literally couldn't kill a cockroach without it killing you. Oh, that reminds me of when we tried to send in Driz Doden as one of our deep elves and just immediately got slammed to the ground. I think that one was an unarmed kobold. Like you do. Okay. My Vajnia. Go kill that Vajnia if you could be so kind. I would greatly appreciate it. And I guess what else can I do here? Can kind of ping off on our side of things. We can maybe switch over to javelins. Okie dokie. Do you have abjuration? Maybe I should just read the log, but what happened there? You do not. What the heck happened to my Vajnia? I tell ya. I guess just didn't last that long. Fair enough. It is what it is. Snaga is a type of goblin in Tolkien? Oh, really? What defines a Snaga? What makes it different? Differentiates it from the other goblins, I wonder. It sounds like a goblin name, don't get me wrong. As soon as you said that, it just kind of clicked and made sense to me. You know, what else would a Snaga be at the end of the day? Snaga? Snaga? I guess Snaga. That's something. Is Naga one of those words that some people say Naga? Naga? I don't know. That seems like something that other Canadians could potentially say in some strange way if I had to guess, but not a word that I see very often or hear very often in the outside world. Strangely enough, and whoopsie daisies, let's not immediately just plip-plop our way downstairs. And let's see how we do against our friends from this angle. Maybe it goes better. Maybe it really doesn't. Holy crud. Well, this was a mistake. I regret. Scroll of Fog should get us the cover we need, but I've been disappointed before. So it's also tempting to just run. But even that, take a step, we'd get fired on by one of these sons of guns. Just you, I'm pretty sure. That alone could still kill us. It's definitely not accidentally do anything, so I'm gonna keep my hands away from the keyboard while I think through the plan, as it were. It's basically between just read fog and hope that it gives us enough cover to get the heck out of dodge, or start running away and hope we don't run into new friends on our way. I lean towards the fog. But again, I feel like I'm scarred by the time that I did it. That one was probably an elf 3, I think, with an elf wizard or an elf annihilator. And it didn't give me enough cover in that direction, so they just one-shot me and I died anyway. But that wouldn't happen again, would it? Well, this is going to be an embarrassing way to go if we do die, but never doubt in my mind. Way closer than I would like. Jeez Louise, and get me the heck out of dodge. Let's not do that again, shall we, friends? In fact, let's just head back to this stairwell. Things were so much nicer, so much clearer. Back in the day, just fighting snakes that didn't have ranged weaponry. You do love to see it. Fantastic. Eventually, we'll probably want to kill Vajnia, but I'm not gonna push ourselves too far to the limit just for the sake of pride. Instead, let's take it slow, take it easy, and live to fight another day. At least, hopefully, that's the dream. It's all we can really ask for in life. Let's actually step up and aside, and that way we get rid of the polearm advantage, as it were. And that should definitely do the trick. Fantastic. Starting a whole new kill alley for all of our friends here. But okay, there we go. That's the end vault. As we get marked on Snake 4, nonetheless. Not ideal is what we call this turn of events. But let's just pop ourselves into our little corner, I guess. You don't like Trog feels too binary? I'd agree with that. Yeah, Berserkers, and by extension Trog, are super consistently strong in a lot of ways, but definitely on the boring side. I think last week it was asked what my least favorite result of a Fated Altar was, and Trog was my biggest vote just because of how much it completely cuts off an avenue of the game from you. Like, Trog is super likely to be successful, and you'll do pretty well for yourself, but it's definitely on the less fun side of the equation, to a certain extent. Okie dokie, let's keep having all of our friends come to us, and maybe this kill quarter will be good enough to take down all of Stake 4, though I somehow seriously doubt that. Hey Ninth, how's it going? You're having a great Sunday, nice to see you, of course. And there you are, Vajna. How's it going? Let us drink a mite and get smacking. At least this is kind of the optimal situation to come across Vajna in. Beautiful. And I guess we'll keep this up as long as we're able to. It is, again, kind of working. We're getting the occasional slightly scarier enemy, and the biggest part about that is we don't know what enemies are coming, so you never know when a truly terrifying threat will pop out around the corner. But that being said, it's still going exceptionally well, and especially since we got into this with a marked trap, which could have gone a heck of a lot worse. But there we go. Fantastic. Nagaria's finished slang word for grill kiosk. How about that? Type of goblin? Grill kiosk. Basically the same thing, right? You like to Trog Colgate, you don't have to figure out which spell schools to go for. I guess that's always the flip side, right? Sure, it's less choice, but on the plus side, it's also less choice. Saying with my little spiel earlier, you'd think Trog was my favorite deity in the entire game because it definitely takes a lot of the decision making out of the game. But I guess there's a weird fine line that I judge in that regard, where I want most of the decisions taken off my plate unless they're ones that I want to make. It's one of those classic scenarios of I want it like that, but only when it serves me. Okie dokie, let's not fight against a mighted Naga over here, and let's instead just take a bit of a hike. Looks like a fairly clear shot to the stairs over here. Regen Amulet was definitely doing a heck of a lot of work there for sure. And please no baddies, don't boom me. It's looking like we have it clear straight on till morning. Fantastic. And now that you're no longer mited, you're a little more manageable. I'll still probably just ditch. Try and get a few of our friends to follow me into this dark alleyway. Hopefully they're not thinking too hard about it. And that is fantastic. Again, I don't like to abuse the stair dancing, but sometimes you just want your characters to survive, and that's definitely one of those days so far here. Again, I'm kind of surprised that Snake is going this well in general. Bit of a shocking turn of events. I was ready for it to be a true nightmare scenario. Please get a reflection. Not quite. Maybe if I switch to crossbow. There she does it. In fact, let's use the crossbow a little bit earlier on in these encounters just to soften up our new friends as much as we possibly can before making the final approach for kill. And we can get rid of normal cold resistance since we're maxed out in that regard rather. And I guess that's it for now. We'll just keep shoving off the need to do inventory management to a day in the future. You gonna surround me? Oh wait, just with that, huh? Are you okay, Guardian Serpent? I feel like you're not doing okay. I feel like there were a lot of friends that you could have brought to the table, but I mean, I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. Let's not get too ridiculous, too out of pocket here. And there we go. Oh hey, speaking of Guardian Serpents, hello my friend. Chant the Reflection Shield, probably worth it. It probably is. I feel like that's very much not necessarily too good to use syndrome, but just an effect of me thinking to myself, oh, but you gotta have a tower shield. On a Formicid, you gotta have a tower shield. And what if we get a tower shield of reflection? But in general, it's a pretty good bet to use up those enchant armor scrolls, especially since we're worshipping Gozeg. We're not going to get a gold dragon scales off of a body. So we're much more liable to be using those enchant armor scrolls on just one of the regular items that we find throughout the dungeon here. Definitely, at the very least, something to keep in mind. And again, maybe I should actually try and remember to use this crossbow just a smidge, just a wee bit. Let's kill you, though. Try and kill the Guardian Serpent real quick. Like I said, just very quick-like. But I'm going to Potion Petitions just to play it safe. Let's get that heal wounds out there. And there's the Guardian Serpent down. And now I can be a little bit cheeky. These sons of guns here and just walk away. When in doubt, whenever faced with a fight you're not wanting to handle, best option in life is generally just to walk away. Be the bigger ant, as it were, in this situation. Colgate, sure you wouldn't want to go for Trog every game, but this game has so much going for it. It's nice once in a while to take a break in Trogland. Just turn off your brain and get smashing. I feel you there. I can respect that, to say the least. And another sea snake down. Again, I can't believe just how many sea snakes we were fighting in shoals without any resistance to poison, because those sons of guns are absolutely lethal. Not too shabby. And we're just about through the majority of the level, then it will just be that final end vault for us to clear. And we'll have to see how that goes. It might be terrifying, to say the least. It usually is. A few Guardian Serpents mixed with a large array of friends. Not for the best, especially considering the fact that we're in the bottom floor, so we can't tunnel down. These rocks are too hard for us to dig through, and so we're left, you know, just in the limbo land of not being a cool Ant-Man, and instead just being a lame, normal character who can't do any of those silly things, but also don't get the advantage of speed, which is not a good combination, to say the least. Well, still can't exactly turn brain off, as there's still lots going on. Tactical decisions even without access to spells. Well, it's funny because I feel like that's something I always think of every once in a while when I'm playing, is just the simple fact that I hear people talking about runs where, you know, they're playing on a Palantonga, then they get the Black Knight Sparding, and they just held tab the entire game. And now, I'm sure it's a little bit hyperbole in the first place, but to me that's just wild, because I feel like no matter how strong my character is, me holding down tab is usually what ends up getting myself killed. But okie dokie. Regardless, here on our end of things, we now got the 2 runes without too much issue. You do love to see it. Shoals and Snake done, so where do we wish to go next? We could head to Vaults and start fighting our way through there for a bit of extra experience and whatnot. Elf is not as bad anymore now that we have access to protection from fire. It might actually be okie dokie. And that's always a nice influx of treasure. The flip side of that is that's also almost where our last Formicid, not in this series, because this is of course our first Formicid, but another time, in another lifetime, I have faint foggy memories of almost dying in Elf, so that's terrifying. So I think it's between Vaults, and potentially could go to Depths, but I generally personally find Vaults to be a slightly easier version of Depths, very similar monster makeups. Vaults is just a little bit of a more consistent layout. Having all those nice room structures means that you have lots of good tunnels for 1v1 fighting, and noise travels a little less prevalently at the very least. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Saphid, Vaults for EXP. Let's check it out. And in fact, we haven't opened our skills menu a single time today. I believe, let's do some memory training here. We probably had shields on, trying to get Kite Shield up, because I don't think we ever hit that cap. Bows, definitely training bow for the storm bow, and maybe evocations was our other one. Let's see what we have on, shall we? So shields, who knows, could have been on, could have hit the cap. Bows is now at 10, so we're getting pretty, I was gonna say pretty close, but that's a bit of a bold-faced lie. I think min delay on the storm bow is like 20, which with a -2 aptitude is gonna take a wee bit, to say the least. But evocations is trained up nicely, up to 14. That sounds all right with me. And maybe let's turn on some fighting as well in the background, just to make sure we're getting a decent chunk of experience. Similarly, armor can probably pop on and get us a few more points of AC while we're at it. And okie dokie. I think that's looking pretty good. For a second there, my brain broke and I was wondering where we got resistance to fire. But right, we got these fantastic, these boots, these lovely boots that are in fact made for walking. And so let's walk all over you. Hello. Even though we have good cold resistance, I'm still not gonna bother letting that son of a gun chill me any more than they deserve here. And let's instead just head into this lovely little corridor. Fortunately, we finally have enough willpower on the character that we don't have to worry too much about, oh geez, Convocation still sucks, but we don't have to worry too much about getting banished or getting paralyzed. Though I guess paralyzed was never really an option with our lovely Formicid friend here, but you of course get what I mean. I think the other one that I was trying to think of that's the big contender here in Vaults is not getting marked by the Sentinels, because that is always a real pain in the rear. Speak of the devil, 2% chance to mark me. I'll take that bet. Perfect. Yeah, I think we made a decent choice here in Vaults. Nice little area for us, especially since we got very lucky with the original makeup. I guess one of the downsides of Vaults is of course the simple fact that much like the final area of Snake, we don't have any ability to dig through the walls, so that's one of our big escape options down the drain. Or not even escape, but kind of tactical options across the board, I guess. But hey, we should do all right. And fantastic, you do love to see it. In fact, let's just head to the stairs to heal up just in case. These boots were made to rampage, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna teleport you across the screen into a group of ugly things. Yeah. Just like the song. Perfect. It's one of those songs that, like, probably should think of the actual pop song that first released, but for whatever reason my brain just immediately goes to Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. It's that Shrek brain rot kicking in. I mean, at the end of the day, it is Antonio Banderas, which who would want to get that out of their mind, you know what I mean? The other day, you were using 7 League boots on an elf 9th, and you were personally teleporting to the middle of the Draconian Band's Zot and casting Polar Vortex. It was really good. I love that. That's a very fun use of them as well, so that's super sweet. Again, I think, weirdly enough, we're doing a lot of, or getting a lot of overlap with last week, but we were commenting on how the 7 League boots unfortunately don't let you sneak up on enemies, because I got very excited the first time I saw them to do so. But there are lots of, yeah, fun things you can do there. It's basically a much stronger, much more consistent version of a Pound Tonga roll, which is pretty wild stuff. Alright, my deep troll friends, let's just head back this lovely little hallway. Sensing a pattern here already, to say the least. It was really good, but you did have great resistances and 31 AC. Oh geez, on a caster? Heck yeah, bud. No, that's super fun. I like that. Definitely not something that every character could pull off, so big props to your elf. And wait, and that was on an elf? How did you get an elf with 31 AC? That seems pretty wild. I feel like normally I'm just pure glass cannon mode on any elf that I play. So what do we get? Thunderhulk is not too bad. Centaur Warrior could be a bit of a pain in the rear, but we'll just head over to this choke point at the least. And I need to kill these evokers before something bad happens. I guess storm form or statue form. That's true, Colgate. That could count. I was thinking all natty, but it could be 31 AC with one of those transformations, which makes a bit more... Not makes a bit more sense, but it's a bit more self-evident, I guess. Okay, let's see. Is there anywhere that I can hit both of you? There is. Oh, but not anymore, because you moved, you sons of guns. Well, I guess let's just try and kill at least one of these Convokers before they continue to rain on our parade. Perfect. And, oh, and the other one's next to us. Or not. That's totally cool too. We'll just have to swap over to something like so. And these summoners are running a wee bit rampant. In fact, we have a bunch of mighted sons of guns coming. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. So let's see. What are my odds of just blasting you sons of guns to oblivion? Because if at all possible, that's what I'd like to. Please, please, before the Convoker gets off the Convoke. Javelins. Javelins! You son of a gun. Colgate, your best kobold run so far was using stone form and swapped to dragon form and later to storm. Later to storm, that interests me because I feel like dragon form is usually my top echelon. That's what I'm aiming for in life. So that's an interesting switch to say the least, but there we go. We killed the Bogarts finally. Jeez. Guess we could go for some static discharges here, and that's pretty huge. I don't see any pole arms, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Hey, buddy. Thank you so much for coming my way. That makes life a heck of a lot easier in terms of decision making. And then we can just blast through the rest of you sons of guns. Okay, I thought Troll was going to be stepping up to the plate, but I guess we'll come to you. Delivery right to your door, at least when it comes to death. Pretty good business model we're running here.